Welcome to the Potter Discussion.
Welcome back to the Potter Discussion. This is episode 98. And on today's episode, we will be discussing the very exciting news of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 3. Let's do this. Alright, it is official. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 3 has officially been announced by Warner Brothers as Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore. Wow, this is huge news. I mean, of course, a new Fantastic Beasts movie is amazing, but this just brings a whole new element to the story. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 3, The Secrets of Dumbledore. I mean, we knew that Dumbledore would somehow be involved in this third movie, but this is a huge deal. We are going to be talking everything about this movie, everything we know might happen, and all of the new exciting elements to this story. I scrambled to put this episode together because we only just got the news this past week in September of 2021. It was, I believe, only a couple days ago that the news reached me, and I have a completely different episode that I was going to record today, but I knew I had to get this information to you. And of course, you will be hearing that episode next week, but oh man, I had to talk about this at least this week as soon as I possibly could, because this news is huge. Now, I'm going to be giving you the release date, everything like that later, but in addition to that exciting news, I also have another piece of news, an announcement that I am currently in the process of building a new website for the Potter Discussion. Now, it's nothing fancy, it's not thousands of dollars, but it is just a home for all my episodes to live on the internet. In case you just can't reach my episodes in your podcast app, or you want something more, go to that website. I will be leaving the link in the description, the show notes. Now, you probably won't find much on there just because there aren't many episodes that I can put on there right now, but I will be having a bunch of announcements like this new Fantastic Beasts movie announcement. In the announcement section, I'll be having a history, photos, just a bunch of cool Harry Potter stuff. The Potter Discussion, it's like a TPD museum, almost. It's pretty cool. I would recommend saving that page because I will be referencing it in the future for announcements, for special events. Definitely save that link if you want to be a part of that. But let's get into this episode. However, before we begin today's episode, I will remind you that the two links in the show notes or on the website are still available. The SpeakPipe page link and the Google form link if you want to send a voice or text submission. Your best question, comment, topic, quizmaster question, joke, to flip the script, or breakdown. I would absolutely love what you have to say, and it is absolutely free. You can also send me an email, ThePotterDiscussion@gmail.com. That is ThePotterDiscussion@gmail.com if the previous two forms of communication weren't satisfactory to you. All right, let's get into this episode. Just to kick it off, I'm gonna give you a quick basic update of just where we stand right now, what's going on, everything like that. So, just this past week in September of 2021, Warner Brothers, their new movie, Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore, would be released on April 15th of 2022, pushed up 3 months from their previous release date of July 15th of 2022. This is a big deal because with COVID, they were shut down for a very long time, and they were having to reschedule and work around different issues, and it was really a big deal and a difficult challenge to overcome for Warner Brothers to be filming this. So it's a really amazing thing that they managed to get the release date up that much, 3 whole months. So on April 15th, the movie is going to come out. It has been officially said that is the release date. And the title too. That's when they also announced the title, The Secrets of Dumbledore. And the title's a big deal too, because the whole fandom has just been thinking about what is this title gonna be, and what is it gonna mean for the rest of the Fantastic Beasts movies. And I suppose our questions were pretty much answered with the release of the title, but I do think that there is still a lot to be discussed in this arena, and we will definitely be delving into that this episode. The title is definitely a big point. But The Secrets of Dumbledore is a really clever title for them to have put out, because there has been discussion of only having a 3-movie series, and as of now, we do not know if that is the case. But The Secrets of Dumbledore could mean many things, because as Dumbledore had a lot of secrets, but it could be signaling the end of the series, but it could also be signaling that there is so much more to be discussed. Now, I won't go into detail of the title just yet, because there is a lot of new information that we will have to discuss, but the title is definitely a big deal, and it will play a huge part in how the fandom and community just takes in this new movie, and just seeing how it does in the box office. And maybe even if it goes off of the theaters in a relatively quick manner, then maybe even the viewers at home who didn't get it in the theaters could even enjoy it even more than in the theater. So it's a huge deal that this new movie is coming out this soon and this title's been released. And there's just so much information to be discussed. We should just get into this, because there's a lot to be talked about. The biggest gap in this story is, the gap in this story. And no, I did not get this segment just so I could say that. But there was a 4-year difference between the releases of The Crimes of Grindelwald and The Secrets of Dumbledore. Now, of course, The Secrets of Dumbledore is not out yet, but with the new release date, this sets these two movies almost 4 years apart, with The Crimes of Grindelwald being released on November 16th of 2018, and The Secrets of Dumbledore being released on April 15th of 2022. It just feels so far apart. Now, what could have contributed to this gap, and why do we think it was almost necessary for Warner Brothers to have this in the kind of sequence of releasing these Fantastic Beasts movies? Well, I think we can pretty much assume that this gap was mostly unintentional. So, pretty much what I am getting from this story is The Crimes of Grindelwald was released pretty much right when COVID was coming about. So they could make that movie and have everything in order with pretty much 100% consistency with no interruption. And that is what you want to see on a movie set this big, but it is still kind of a strange thing that they had this gap of 4 years in between this movie, and we will never know why that gap was there for sure until Warner Brothers tells us, but I do think that we can still be kind of speculating why it was there. So I do think that if The Crimes of Grindelwald was released that far ago, that's not the right word for it, but that long ago rather, I don't know if they could have released the new movie that soon after. And we kind of saw that this was a true fact, because they didn't release The Crimes of Grindelwald like directly after Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I think that was released in 2016? I don't know. Sometime around there. But the gap increased so much in between movies 2 and 3, mostly I would say because of COVID and because of filming and because of the requirements that were now put upon them in filming in this COVID season. And there have been talk of them filming in Rio. That just adds a whole new complication into the filming process. But even then, filming in all these different places and all these special effects and all this big budget movie filming during a pandemic, it just can't go well. And I did hear that they had to pause production multiple times. They had to do mass COVID tests. They had to stop. They had to start again. They had to do retakes. They had to just do all this different stuff just so they could stay safe, which is a very, very good thing of them to do. But it did set production back a very long time, which I know that it was necessary. But it's just the question still stands. 4 years. It must have been so difficult to get everything in order to actually get a successful take in there. And I'm sure they had to have been wearing masks. Like the second the camera cut, they just put on their mask again. And it's a very difficult thing to do, especially because this movie is just like there's so much to live up to, especially with the first two Fantastic Beasts movies and of course Harry Potter and the story that we know to be happening. Of course, the Fantastic Beasts series is gonna kind of end with the duel between Dumbledore and Grindelwald in 1945, but I can pretty much say that we're nowhere near that in the story right now. But time could be shifting so much, and with movies they could just say 5 years later, 10 years later, and the duel could just be here. Not if Warner Brothers doesn't want to go through the whole process of figuring out COVID schedules and filming again. I suspect that they will, though. If the third movie is a success, I think they are going to continue on because the first Fantastic Beast was a huge hit. I'm pretty sure it made a lot of money, and we can say that for sure. The second movie, however, did not do as well as the first. It was still good, and it was still great. Those are two very different things, but the theaters just weren't taking in people as in such great volumes as they used to. That's why that movie didn't do as well. Warner Brothers is kind of thinking, well, how do we save this franchise? And with this third movie, I think a smart move on Warner Brothers' part would be to skip forward in the story, but still leave some blank spots. Like, leave it on a cliffhanger, so if they do have to end, it would be a suitable end for the story. But even if they don't end it, it would still be a good place to pick up at, if that makes sense. There's just so much going on with these schedules and this gap. Like, what could it mean? How did they even manage to complete this filming? But there is still so much to discuss. So let's keep moving. Banana boat. So our next subject is the good contrast between the Crimes of Grindelwald and the Secrets of Dumbledore. So as you all know, the second Fantastic Beasts movie, The Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald, took place in Paris and London, in so many different places. It was very much about Grindelwald and how Newt and Theseus and everyone just kind of worked together to defeat his overall goals. And then at the very end, the classic cliffhanger scene where Grindelwald does his whisper thing. He's like, "And now I bestow upon you the name that was taken from you." That thing, I can't be the only one who notices that, but that was so funny. And then he creepily just pulls a wand out of his sleeve that he was just keeping there. And then Credence takes it, and then Grindelwald says, like, "You're Aurelius Dumbledore," and then he does the weird hand thing, and a phoenix goes out of the air, and then Grindelwald walks away, and then Credence explodes a mountain for fun. That whole scene was a great segue into the next movie, The Crimes of Grindelwald, The Secrets of Dumbledore. Those two things seem to be polar opposites, and on the outside they are, but on the inside, they're actually the exact same thing. Let me explain. The Crimes of Grindelwald is a movie where we get to see the reign of Grindelwald, what he does, how he does it, and really what he's capable of in the arena of getting followers, magic, and just the overall sense of his power in the world. And when Grindelwald and Dumbledore were young, they were best of friends. They were closer than brothers, is what Dumbledore said in the Crimes of Grindelwald. And they really had a close bond. They made a blood pact. And Grindelwald was very invested in the idea of like for the greater good. And that's even what he etched in his fancy little smoke skull in the movies after that. Back to when they were young, Grindelwald was really into the whole for the greater good, for ridding the world of the bad people, of making everything perfect, which of course we know can never happen. We can just make the world better, not perfect. And Dumbledore wanted the same thing, but he just wasn't so adamant about doing it in such a violent manner, because we know that Grindelwald was planning to do it not by asking nicely, but by starting a little small inconsequential war. Dumbledore was very much against that, but he didn't realize what Grindelwald was doing until it was too late. I think those two titles were kind of mirroring what these two boys were doing when they were young. Grindelwald was really committing all of these crimes. They could have even made a movie about it and called it The Crimes of Grindelwald. Oh my gosh, they did. Whoa. So, the Crimes of Grindelwald can be referring to what Grindelwald did when he was a boy in making the world perfect and Umbridgeizing the world, making it exactly his view and shaming anyone else or even killing anyone else who didn't think the same way he did. And when Dumbledore found out, he knew that he couldn't tell anyone that he had actually gone along with Grindelwald. He had to keep that secret forever. So the Secrets of Dumbledore could be referring back to that he had to keep these secrets from Grindelwald, from himself even. He didn't want to admit to himself that this was something that he actually wanted. He wanted to make the world a perfect place. But in the end, he wised up and he knew that actually couldn't happen. Unfortunately, Grindelwald did not. But that whole story kind of continues on because these two titles are mirroring their youth. What could future titles possibly mirror in their adulthood? That's the big question. How could they put these two titles into such a sequence that the Fantastic Beasts franchise could move forward in such a way that mirrors all of their comings and goings and interactions with each other? Because Crimes of Grindelwald and Secrets of Dumbledore, that could be in their youth. But keep in mind, there are still 2 titles left if this does turn out to be a 5-movie series, and that could possibly clue us in to what might happen in their future years. Now, we know that the story of Grindelwald ends in 1945, but depending on where this movie takes us, that story might have more to it than we know. All we got was Grindelwald and Dumbledore duel, 1945. Grindelwald loses. Dumbledore gets the Elder Wand, does all the good, becomes the good wizard, and Grindelwald is locked up in Nurmengard, his own prison, and he's left there forever. And Voldemort comes to him and says, "Where's the Elder Wand?" And then Grindelwald is like, I knew you'd come eventually, Tom. It's with him. He did the whisper thing again. He did it again. he loves those whisper things. It's so dramatic. But I suppose anyone who plays Grindelwald has to be a good creepy whisperer. I suppose it fits for Grindelwald to be doing a creepy whisper every time the camera zooms in on him. But anyway, so the story ends all with the last time you see Grindelwald is in the Deathly Hallows, and he is telling Voldemort where the Elder Wand is, but there he is clearly mega old because he has been in Nurmengard for so long, and 1945 was a long time ago. I believe the Battle of Hogwarts is in 1998, 1999, sometime around there. Grindelwald was in that prison for decades, and even then he's 30, maybe even 40 in the Crimes of Grindelwald, so he's pulling on 100. And Grindelwald really is reaching his years, and there's just so much in between there. What could it possibly mean? Pretty much what I'm saying is there is so much story that could still be in this franchise. I don't think that these two that this The Secrets of Dumbledore is going to be the last one. It does, of course, all depend on the money. Are they going to have enough money to build the next movie? Is like that whole situation. But I can tell you now, if this movie does well, they are going to have 2 more movies, because they can't just stop it at 4. I mean, like, what are they doing? Stopping it at 4? I can pretty much guarantee that they're not going to stop it at 4, but they are definitely going to do some more magic, haha, if this movie does well. The next big dilemma with The Secrets of Dumbledore is, what of Grindelwald? There is nothing in the title to suggest where Grindelwald might be in all of this, except for the fact that maybe he might be fighting Dumbledore slightly, maybe a little bit. But other than that, Grindelwald is really not even in this movie as of now. Now we know he will be eventually, because we heard that Mads Mikkelsen is now the official Grindelwald after Johnny Depp was removed from that role. But might I say, Mads Mikkelsen is a very good person to take that role, playing the stoic villain. I guess you could say his performance in Doctor Strange and the Marvel franchise was very, very good. And I just recently rewatched Doctor Strange because I absolutely love them, and he is definitely a great person for that role. Mads Mikkelsen replacing Grindelwald might mean a couple of things. Now, besides all of the Johnny Depp drama, I think we can pretty much assume that Grindelwald is either going to stay exactly the same or is going to be very, very different. Because if they tried, Warner Brothers could make Mads Mikkelsen pretty much the exact same as Johnny Depp, except for the face, of course. Because Mads Mikkelsen is a very good actor, and he could definitely pull off the role of Johnny Depp as Grindelwald. That makes sense. Mads could definitely play Johnny Depp instead of Grindelwald, and even if he more went for the playing Grindelwald aspect of it, I still think Mads would be a very good person to take over this role. And depending on how Warner Brothers wants to frame it, depending on how they see Mads as a candidate for this change or non-change rather, he would definitely still be in the seat of the cunning, evil Grindelwald, the feared Grindelwald. And still, besides that, I still think that Grindelwald will be in a less major part of the Crimes of Grindelwald in the Secrets of Dumbledore, but he will still be kind of the driving force, like in, I don't know, let's say The Prisoner of Azkaban. Voldemort wasn't a big part of that movie, but he was still kind of the driving motivation for Harry to conquer evil and kind of still keep fighting for what he believed in. And I think that's going to be the case for the Secrets of Dumbledore. This is going to be really where Dumbledore makes up his mind that he has to fight Grindelwald. There's no other way. He has to find a way around the Blood Pact. And even if he doesn't, again, this all depends on the money. If this movie does go well, I think they will have more movies. If it doesn't, they won't. But it depends on if he does or does not find a way around the Blood Pact. I suspect in this movie, it's gonna be the making up of his mind that's gonna be like the big thing. Dumbledore finally decides that he has to, and because this is such a big deal, because in the Crimes of Grindelwald, when the Ministry asks him, you have to fight, you have to, he says, I can't. And the Ministry's like, great, fine. And they think that he is working with Grindelwald, so they give him like the cuffs that can give him all the spells in the world, or tell the Ministry what spells he casts. So it's a very, very difficult situation for Dumbledore right now. And at the end of the Crimes of Grindelwald, he does recover, and the cuffs do get removed from him. He holds up his hands, and Theseus waves his wand, and they fall off in such a dramatic fashion. But now that the Niffler has gotten the Blood Pact from Grindelwald, there might be some change, because now Dumbledore has both of them, and he can do some bibbidi-bobbidi-boo magic to to figure out how to destroy it. And let's just say that he does. If Dumbledore does find a way to destroy the Blood Pact, then he's not gonna go say, great, I'm gonna go apparate and fight Grindelwald now, because of course we know that doesn't happen until 1945. If Dumbledore finds a way around the Blood Pact in this movie, I think he's just gonna start rallying the troops, telling Newt and the ministries around the world, and just alerting the wizarding community as a whole that Grindelwald is out there and he has a way to defeat him. Now, not saying I destroyed the Blood Pact that I made with Grindelwald, so he doesn't know that, but now he does. Whoops. He's not going to say that, but he's going to just alert the world of a dangerous wizard. Just giving them a line of defense, saying, if you see this man, do not approach him, but tell me. Tell the world. Tell your ministry. Raise awareness for this person. So, if he doesn't, if he does not find a way around the Blood Pact, he is going to try and kind of bluff his way out of it. Because, Dumbledore, he's still a very, very smart person, so even if he can't figure out how to destroy it yet, he is going to find a way to trick Grindelwald into thinking he did, therefore leading Grindelwald to be kind of running away and hiding because he thinks that Dumbledore could now defeat him, and if he did fight him in the later movies. So that kind of answers the question of, will Grindelwald be in this movie? Our final topic is going to be discussing what characters are going to be in this new movie and what time it's going to take place in. The Crimes of Grindelwald took place in 1927, which is clearly not even close to 1945. So we can assume that the Secrets of Dumbledore is either going to take place in 1928 or in 1944, because if this is a 5-movie franchise, they are gonna have to have more stuff to film, and if this is not, they're gonna have to wrap it up this movie. I think that this is going to be a 5-movie series, so they are probably going to open up just about where they left off, because there was a huge cliffhanger, and there's no way that they're just gonna give up this kind of dynamic of Credence exploding a mountain and kind of revealing that he is a Dumbledore, and then they just skip 20 years and then the franchise ends after this movie. So that's just not a very smart decision on the Warner Brothers part. I think that there is going to be something in the middle here that we are just going to see, and it depends. There's a lot of gap time between 1927 and 1945, so it depends. If we do have 5 movies, they could have some skipping around because there's just 3 movies left. There's The Secrets of Dumbledore, and then Fantastic Beasts 4 and Fantastic Beasts 5. We don't know if these are kind of close together in the same time frame, or if they are far apart in the sense that we skip time in the middle here, because I doubt we're going to skip time with this movie just because we left it on such a cliffhanger. But depending on what happens in The Secrets of Dumbledore, if we do end it on a cliffhanger too on this movie, or if we don't, we will see what's happening, because if we don't know what's going to happen next, for sure, then chances are we are going to have a chronological progression of this movie, simply because there's no way that they can be skipping around and still be making the numbers that they are. Warner Brothers operates on a time schedule of money. How much money can they make from releasing on specific times? How can they please their audiences? If they release this movie and it ends on a complete cliffhanger, and they say Fantastic Beasts 4 will be unveiled and it's coming up, we can assume that it's probably going to be right after this movie has ended, because even the last shot in The Crimes of Grindelwald was a huge cliffhanger, with the mountain exploding and Credence just bringing his hands down, a look of shock and almost, I don't know, there's not quite a word for it. It's like unsatisfied completion almost, that the answer was just given to him and he didn't find it, he just found it out, almost. He is kind of now wondering what to do with life, which sounds kind of, it's a big thing. The Crimes of Grindelwald is definitely going to have to pick up, or that the Secrets of Dumbledore is definitely going to have to pick up right where that movie left off, or there's going to be some serious continuity, and we might not even get the full picture of the story. The bottom line for all of this is we are not going to know anything for certain until the movie comes out or Warner Brothers gives us another official announcement. So all we can do at this point is just sit tight and wait for more information. That's it. That's all I got on this topic so far. So you can do even more research on this topic. I'm sure just about every single Harry Potter podcast has just released a Fantastic Beasts episode. So you can listen to all of your favorite ones right after this one. There's just so much information to be had that there's really no end to this rabbit hole. But thank you so much for listening. If you could just go check out my website, it would be greatly appreciated. Any feedback you might have, I would love to hear what you have to say. Again, the link will be in the show notes below. And if you have any questions, comments, topics, quizmaster questions, jokes, flip the script, or breakdown, then you can send me a voice submission or a text submission using the SpeakPipe page link or the Google form link in the description below. You can also send me an email, ThePotterDiscussion@gmail.com. That is ThePotterDiscussion@gmail.com if you want to do that. Alright, as always, use the information to your advantage, and I will see you later.
This was the Potter Discussion.